water. We throw it on the garden and we think nothing more about it, but it is a natural resource that we really need to protect. Now on this site we have running water. We've been very lucky, but I wasn't always this lucky, and when I was at the old site, a lot of you are aware, we had to collect all of our water. So in this episode we're going to look at water catchment. Now, although we have running water here, I still like to collect as much water as possible, utilising things like the polytunnel we're in, because I believe that if we can secure that water before it hits the ground, we can save it and actually put it to work where it's needed. Water catchment comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes and containers. Now it can be as easy as just a little barrel out in the open where it catches natural rainfall, or you can link it to a building like this polytunnel. And as you can see, it can be big barrels, small barrels. What we've decided to utilize here is Ibc containers. So what I'm utilizing here is Ibc containers, and if you notice where they are, we have the polytunnel to our left and we have the shed to our right here. So what we have here is a total of 4 Ibc containers. Now for those of you who don't know, Ibc just stands for intermediate bulk container, and they're usually carried things like chili oils and things like that, but they're also used for things like diesel and other chemicals. So what I would suggest is, if you are going to buy these, ensure that they've only ever contained a natural ingredient like chili oils or food products, because they do get used for that as well. Now these Ibcs, they hold 1,000 litres each, which equates to 250 gallons. So as you can see here, we have 1,000 gallons or 4,000 litres just in this little area. And the reason they're situated here is because we want to be able to take the water that comes or that's caught on these roofs of the shed and the polytunnel and store it here. And it's just a natural place. But also the polytunnel, because it's a dry environment, it takes a lot of water, guys. So that's why these 4 are here. Now on our site, or on my particular garden, I collect 8,000 plus litres, and I'm going to show you some of those catchments as we go around. So we have a guttering. Now when I built the polytunnel, for those of you who haven't seen, we built a lip within the polytunnel which sheds the water away from the side, so we can use full-size drainage or guttering to catch it. It comes down in a box shape and just fits straight into the top of the Ibc. Now what that does, it allows us to collect all of the water into one Ibc. As you can see, this one isn't actually linked to anything coming down, but yet it's full. And how we manage that is we link both the Ibcs together at the bottom, and if I just spin you around, you'll be able to see just down there. Now what happens on the bottom of these Ibcs, there's a tap. So what I've done, I've created a little rubber pipework, and this comes on here in an L shape sort of, or U shape, and it connects those 2 taps together, and they're open at the moment. But what that allows us to do is, as this one fills, this one will fill, so that the water levels even out within both. So as one fills, they both fill. But the good thing about it is, if there's an issue with one of these tanks, I can isolate them. So we can just shut this tap back off like that, and now I could drain this one completely if I wanted to remove it for something, and I haven't got to drain both. So it's a really good way to actually utilize multiple tanks. And if we wanted to run 5 or 6 or 8 all off one drain pipe, we would just put a T-piece here instead of an elbow joint, and we'd run off a bit of pipe to the next one, and so on. So essentially there is no limit to how many you have here. On the top of an Ibc, there's normally one of these screw cap tops, okay, and I've cut that out. The reason it was cut out is so that I can use one of these. This is a bilge pump, and I bought it on eBay. Now this bilge pump will move 3,700 gallons an hour. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, well, I haven't got electricity at my allotment garden or whatever the case being, but this is a 12-volt pump and it moves that much water. It will empty one of these IBCs in around about 6 to 10 minutes. So that's how fast this water can pump. And at the moment, the only way to control the flow rate is to reduce the hose size. So as you can see here, I've got some tape connecting down to a smaller pipe because the fitting here is much larger, but I want to reduce the amount, and it's still emptying this container in 6 to 10 minutes. Now, why do I want to move that much water so quickly? Well, the reason is further down the garden we have another IBC, and the top of that is cut out completely. Now, what that enables me to do is to drop in watering cans and things like that, but I can also put it somewhere where I don't have a roof to collect. Okay, so I can, when these are full, I can utilize it by dropping that down through that hole in there, and I can just pump it straight into that tank that is nowhere near a roof. So I can put water anywhere I want to, and a couple of minutes later that one is full and one of these will be empty, or because they're both linked, it will be half full on both of them. Now, that's the 4,000 litres we have here, and I'll just show you where we've got the others now. So underneath Keith's shed here, okay, which is my next door neighbour, we've got another ABC, which is ours. Okay, we've moved out 2 of his barrels out to here, and all we do is pump water into those for his greenhouse there. And you guys already know that we're likely to be having these 2/4 plots from the last episode. So he's got a bit of a shoddy roof here, but it catches water. Now, if you're wondering how long all this water takes to fill, on a good downpour, the size of this polytunnel will fill these 4 barrels within probably maybe a couple of hours from empty. So, you know, there's 4,000 litres there, plus the one there, that's 5. There's another one here which we're catching on the side of this roof. Okay, we have one down just a little bit further there which we're catching off the side of that roof. Now, all those sheds eventually, when I do take over all of that land, will come down. We don't need them, but all we'll do then is link up these others all together as I described earlier on, so we'll still have that sort of catchment. And here's the one that is out in the open we were showing you earlier on, and as you can see, there's already a couple of watering cans in it. So you may be thinking, that's 8,000 litres of water. That saves a huge amount of money. Now, bearing in mind, that's at any one time. These continually fill. The only time that they don't really fill is when we have a period of about 6 or 8 weeks in the summer. I've been at this site now, this is my 3rd year starting, and the only time I've ever had to use tap water from up here is when I'm filling my kettle, or if I want to water seeds, because plants prefer rainwater because there's no chlorine or anything, so it's much better for the plants. But for seedlings, they're quite prone to the algae and things and the pathogens that may be in this water, so you're better off using tap water for that. So for my seedlings, I will use tap water. So I want you guys to understand the difference there. But a lot of people will spray paint these tanks black, and in the hotter climates, sort of America and Australia and things, they'll spray these tanks black, and the reason for that is to stop the algae. But you know, to be honest with you, I'm using that much water that I don't really notice the algae growing. Now, this has been here all winter, and although it is, the water's a little bit murky, there's no algae as such growing in there, you know, so the water's still relatively clean, and I don't get moss growing on top of the plants and things like that. Well, that's it for the water catchment areas, guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because you'll then get notified when we put out more videos like this. All I'd like to say is thanks very much for viewing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.